Hi and welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. Today is day 9 of my Creative Journal Prompt Challenge. We're going to be working on make a pocket of some kind. And what I think I'm going to do is create a pocket that will go on the front of the journal by using some fabric and some cardstock. And then I will put something on the pocket. I'm not quite sure. I'm looking for some vintage images and I might put something on the front of the pocket, but I'm going to go ahead and create the pocket and add it to the front of the binder. So I think I'm going to start by, let me get this out of the way, distressing our card. Distressing to the edge of our card. This is just a warm-up for me to decide what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be working with. It gives me a chance to just kind of prepare my mind for what I'm going to be doing here. So let's stamp a number 9 on this. For our day 9. We'll stamp our little wreath on here. There we go. Put that out of the way. And let's stick this into our book here. That's day 7, day 8. And we are working on day 9. Now I am going to be tea staining some paper. That's one of my prompts that actually wasn't added to the list, I believe, before I posted it. I came up with a couple of other prompts that I wanted to add to my lists, and one of them was tea stain some paper. So I will probably do some tea staining one day and just kind of show you once I get it started and the process throughout. I won't show you the exact process. I do have a video for my tea staining, so I don't need to redo the whole thing, but I could use that as part of my prompts because I do want to put some tea stain paper inside this for writing on. So we're making a pocket of some kind using fabric and cardstock for the front of our, I'm calling it my binder journal. This is day 9 of 2020. All right, we'll move that guy out of the way. Put our marker away. So what I think I'm going to do is probably measure the front here. I think I'm going to go with about a 6-inch by 4-inch piece of material. So let's start there. We'll take this muslin. All right, and I think I'll cut it from this side here. And this has a finished edge, so I'm just going to tear it. That strip off, and I'll save it for something else. And then we want about a 6-inch wide, I'll do a 4-inch wide piece on this side. There we go. Let's strip and cut that. Let's move that out of the way. Get a couple of strings off. So there's our 4-inch width, and then we want something about 6 inches long. So let's go about there. All right. So there we go. There is our 4-inch by 6-inch, and I'm just going to pull 1 or 2 more of the strings off to give it a more frayed look. There we go. this end as well. And if you can't get the ends very well, just use a little awl and use a needle or sharp end of a stick, and that'll just help you to pull a little bit more of the strings out. Just going to do one more on this side. There we go. That looks a little better. Let's do something on that side. And I'm just going to pull that. And that one there. That should give us a good enough fray. So bring our binder over. So this is just going to be the background of the pocket, and then I'm going to create the actual pocket out of cardstock and put that on the front. So I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to glue it on yet. So if this is 4 by 6, we want something a little bit smaller than that. Okay, so let's cut this piece of paper to 6 inches here. Just going to go over to my cutter here, and let's cut one out. 1/4 by 6 inches. Okay. So I cut this to 5 1/4 by 6 inches, and then what I'm going to do is just take about a 3/4 of an inch mark on either side, and then I'm just going to do a small, maybe 3/8 of an inch on the bottom there, and then I'm going to cut those corners off. And then you're going to fold these up. So there is our one side of our pocket. And if it's going to go on the front and I'm going to put something inside the pocket, you need to make it so that it has these little flaps so that you can get something in there. It won't be really a tight fit. So the only reason I did that little piece on the bottom is just so that it will go all the way down. So we've got that. And that will sit on the front here like this. And then I'm going to take my 2-inch punch, and I'm just going to put my flaps there, and I'm just going to eyeball it and cut a little circle out of there. And you always want to put your side flaps down and then your bottom flap, so that when you slide something in, it's not going to get caught on anything. And then that will just go in here like that. And then again, I want to add something onto the front of this as well. I'm just going to fix this. This doesn't seem like it's down where it should be. There we go. That's a little better. Just felt a little wonky there. So I think what I might do is add a book page to the top of this, just to give it some background, and then like I say, I'll add something else to the front of that. So I'm just going to grab a book page. Grab my little book here. And this is just a paperback that I've been using. And I want that one right there that has a lot of text. And we're going to make this about 3.5 by 5.5. So I'm just going to get my pencil. Let's move this guy out of the way. So we want it to be 3.5, which is the width of the text, which is perfect, by 5.5. So the top of that one and the bottom of that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to rip it across to give it a nice rough edge. And then I can do it this way as well. See if this will work. Just give it a little tear. Finish that little side there. Okay, and then we just want to tear it across, say about there. And then again, just at the edge of the text. All right, let's take off some of those little pointy pieces. There. Now let's get our distress paper back, and my distress ink, which is over here. And I think I will just add a little bit of the black to the edge first. Just a little around the edges. And then I'm going to take some of that brown and do that as well, and just pull that in a little bit farther. And just a nice soft edge there. Let's see how that looks on the black. Yeah, I think that looks great. Okay, so if we glue that on, and then I have to cut this out, so let's see where it's going to go. Let's just fold that up. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to glue these. Just put a little, oops, a little tiny bit of glue here. To hold those bottom flaps up. Let's hold it for a second to hold them up. And I'm just going to trim that little corner off that's sticking out there. There we go. Yeah, that will work a little better. That will work. Be a lot easier for me to position this. Okay, so we're going to put that on there, and I think I'm going to tear this back a little bit farther. So let's just tear that back about another 1/8 of an inch. And you have to be very careful. This is from a paperback, so it's pretty thin paper. And let's just quickly add our brown, soften it a bit, and then just dip it in your black and just give it a little. There. Okay, now let's see how that looks. That's better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and what I'm going to do is mark where my punch lines are first, and this might not punch very well, so let's get a scrap of paper. And let's just hold that underneath so that it'll give me a little more thickness to cut. And I'm just going to try and make it a little bit bigger than the picture. There, that cut. You should always add a little bit of thickness. If you're working with a really thin piece of paper, it'll end up just bending it. So put a piece of paper or a piece of scrap cardstock behind it and you'll get a better cut. So there, we're going to add that on there like that. So let's glue that little guy on. And then, like I say, I'm going to be going to a used bookstore this week. So I will find something that maybe I can find for some vintage images that I can add to the front, an old postcard or something that I can add to the front of this pocket. And let's get that on where we want it. Drop it. Pull that up a bit. There. Okay. So we're going to add that there. Let's get rid of the paper back here. Move our distress ink again. I'm going to move this because it has lots of ink all over it right now. Alright, so now we're going to place our fabric piece on there. So we'll glue this on. And this gets really, really thick, this glue. So I try and get all the little gummies off the top. And then I take my awl. This one has a hole in the middle, and you just gotta really give it a good poke, and it'll come out a little better now. There we go. Much better. Put a couple more lines on here. And then one that way. I want to make sure we get to the edges. Not right to the edges, but pretty close. Okay. And then we're going to flip this over. And I'm going to position it before I pat it down because I want it to be in the right spot here. Right about there. And you want to go from the middle out so that you don't get any little wrinkles. Alright, and just make sure that's even. There we go. And then we're going to glue our pocket down on top of that, like that. And this one you're going to want to secure fairly well because it's on the front of your book and it's going to have some, when you open up your book, it's going to be resting against the table, so you want to make sure you secure that very well. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put him on there. And again, you want to go from the center and then push it down. And it can come forward a bit. There we go. Put my lid back on there. All right. And there we've gone and added our front pocket. And then I'm going to work on adding an eyelet here, and I'm going to use some of the fabric as well. And I'm just going to rip a couple of strips, fairly long strips, and use to make some ties. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. But for now, there is our pocket, and we can make a card like, we can make a card using that color or that color. Let's try this one. So we need it to be 3.5 by 5.5. So I'm just going to cut this. 3.5. So there's my width, 3.5. And we want it to go probably to the end. I'm just going to mark it with my pencil because I'm going to add a tab to this. So we'll just cut that off. So there's our journaling card. So that will just slide in there. And then we're going to add a tab to that. And I do believe I brought some tabs somewhere. I have some tabs here. That one's closed. We won't use that one. These are made from the holders that you get around your hot cup of tea. These are thinner ones that I'm not sure what brand they were, but they were pretty thin, and I just used those and punched those so we can make a nice little tab for the top of this, and that can go on there and slide in there like that. Or we can create a tab out of this blue. No, it's too much. I don't think I want a black tab. So I think I'm just going to work with these. And I'm going to round out these corners. Here, I've got my punch here. I'm just going to round out these corners here. So there, we got to round them out. We're going to glue this on here, and that will be our tab for the card. And what I like to do is put it in the pocket and see where the middle is on the card, where it's going to sit in the middle. And just kind of tack that in place like that, and then I can pull it out again and then just make sure it's even. So there we go. We got a little tab on there like that, and then we can grab some of our lined papers, and I can create a little thing to go on the back of here. So we want it to be maybe 3 1/4 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to go from here out about 1 1/2 on each side. So let's see, 1 1/2 plus 1/8. That was wrong. So that will go like that on the back of the card. And we can round out the corners of this. And glue that on. See, there's the vintage image on the back. What's the image of? I can't tell. Oh, it's a donkey cart. That's part of a donkey there. I think I will go with the white for now. And we will place that on there. And then I think I will add, if I add an image to the front of here, I will also add an image to something on here. And then put a little label on it. I think I had some labels. Where did I just pull those things out of? Here. Found these little labels here. I could perhaps add a little label to this. To the bottom maybe. Yep, I think that will work. And then get my distress ink. And again, just do a light brushing on the side. To outline it. Like that. And then we can put that on the bottom there. And then do something on the back as well. Or do I want to put it on that side? Actually, I like it there better. Needs something under it, doesn't it? What have I added? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Go ahead and add a card to this. So we need to cut out that line there. Yeah. We can put that on there and then add this little label onto the bottom. There we go. We also have these other labels here. We have this little square guy. We have this little guy, and maybe that would look better with the little cardstocky guy. Let's do that and just give it a little color. There we go. And I'm going to stamp that with a number, I think, on the back or on the tag here. Once we're done, I'll get my stamps out and we'll add some numbers. There. And let's just make that a little rustic looking, vintagey. There we go. So that will go inside our pocket. Like that. And like I say, I'm going to decorate the front a little more. And then I'm going to be adding some eyelets and some, that'll be tomorrow, eyelets and some ribbon. And then I haven't decided about the lace for the back. Whether I use this, which might be a little too white, I'm not sure. It's the wrong side, of course. Like that. So I'll have that on there. And then the little tie, perhaps, on there. And this will have a little bit more on it. This is just the background. This will have more of something like that on it, or an image or of some kind, or something like that. And then this little guy, and then there'll be something in here as well. Anyway, we're just playing, we're trying to figure it all out. I do have some cream colored lace that I could add to the spine. No, I don't like that at all. All right, I'm going to stop there. That's our pocket for today. I will work on adding a few more things to this once I get my books and my images going. I'll keep these little tabs handy. And if I want to use those a little bit later on. Okay, so that's it for now. Day 9. Get the days right. We've added a little pocket to the front of our cover, and we've created a nice little journaling card as well, and that sits just inside the pocket with a little tab. And I'll be working on adding some more journaling cards and stuff to the inside cover as well. And then tomorrow, day 10, we're going to add the eyelets and some tie closures as well. Okay, that's it for today. Quick and easy. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for following along.